I'm Kay, and I am back for a huge project today during this Baby Got Scraps. Now, I am actually doing Baby Got Scraps, a challenge over on our Kit Club challenge, and then Shannon's She's Crafty mini paper challenge. So I've got 3 challenges going on, and with 3 challenges, I have decided that I am going to do 3 pages. All right, well, it's actually kind of 4, but let me show you what I have going on. So I have a double page spread right here of my kids doing this really cool science experiment that I found online, and I thought it would be great while we were all stuck at home and couldn't go anywhere and do anything, and it was just awesome. Well, we still are stuck at home and can't go anywhere or do anything, but we like to do fun things like this. It's a quick project. It's you know, gets their brains thinking of how did it do this, how did it do that. The older kids, you know, actually figured out the chemical reaction part, where the other kids just loved watching it bubble and fizz and pop. Okay, and then of course I have a what I like to call an insert, which is more photos of kind of the exact same thing here, plus the journaling on what this will be, and then my title once I figure out the alphas I want to use, but I'm not really sure yet. I want to use the alphas over here. Now, I have lots of die cuts, I have lots of papers everywhere, and I have mismatched everything. So basically what I did really quickly which is nothing I ever do, is really quick. So basically what I did was I picked out 2 background pages, and these are both pages by Fancy Pants called To the Moon. So they are from my space little category that I had, because it's to the moon, right? And because they coordinated, but they weren't, like this one's a sketchy blue and this one has lots of lines on it, but it still kind of goes with what I've got going on. I brought this green over to here using my little papers, right? Now this paper is Stampin' Up! Paper, but it matches like almost to a T to this paper, okay? And when it's way over here and then split with an album, you can tell that it's the same, but it's going to be split over here. And then to see if I had room for my light bulb, I already did some pre-planning. Okay, so I've got my photos cut down to 4-ish inches. I brought in this last little scrap that I have from, I think it's Stargazer. Yes, close to my heart, Stargazer. I also have this last little scrap here from Stargazer, along with this tiny little bit right here. Okay, so I'm going to bring this all the way over here just because I can't throw it away. It's a cute piece of paper. I know. I have no other excuse, you guys. None. So I want to do the light bulb because you guys should see some of my kids' eyes and wows and all that other stuff. Plus I want to do a really cool, fun, well, it could be a disaster experiment with this light bulb. And with this light bulb, I have this scrap of brown wood grain that I want to use down in here, only because I don't have any black, so I'm going to do brown. And then I have this piece of vellum, and then I have this piece of yellow. So these pieces are going to be for this light bulb, and this light bulb is going to take up the rest of this blue space. All right. Well, because I brought this piece in and nothing over here looks like this, I brought in this die cut right here, and I want to fill in all these holes to look like this. So I brought in the red, the blue, the yellow, and the gray with these pieces right here. So I've got my gray, my yellow, my red, and here is my blue. Okay, so I, again, am just playing with scraps or 6x6 papers. I have this little piece to represent what I'm trying to do over here, which I think will go behind this as like a little photo, little thingy right there. And then I also have this red piece, which matches this red piece pretty well, except this is striped and this is polka dotted. And so I was thinking about putting this red right here and having my photos mimic how I have the photos over here. Okay, well then I had a journaling spot that I wanted to add. I have all these little science images that I want to do, and more photos because I don't have room for the photos with this giant light bulb that I want to express or try an experiment on. And I wanted these 2 photos for sure. So I brought these 2 photos in an insert that will go in between these 2 pages in my album. And then I just filled up the rest of the pockets with all of these little icons, and then more pictures that I never would have used if my layout would have worked, right? It was a filler spot, and then I brought in this dark blue to bring in both pages, okay? So it was just another filler. I didn't want green because all the jars are green. I didn't want red because really red doesn't go really well, and I didn't want yellow. So blue was the choice of it all, and I definitely didn't want gray because that's just boring. All right, so I'm going to put the insert off to the side depending on what I do. So today I might only work on this. Today I might get to this, and today I might do this. But I don't know if I'm going to do all of this in one video because it is very long. I want to take all these scraps and I want to back this cut file. Well, because of some of the other cut files that I have just shown, and I took out all that spot or all that footage because I assumed people, I just assumed that people knew how to do, how to cover up the back of this cut file. But there's several different ways that you can cover up a cut file, and I really wanted to explain that when most of my cut file like how-tos and all that stuff are on a private Facebook group. So that's not very fair, right? I have all these cut files and they're really, really cool, but how did I do them? So there's 2 different ways that you could do this. All right, because this is pretty simple cut and all that, I could go and reach into my punches. Let's try this one. Yep, so I could have went in and reached in for my punches and just started punching and then back all these cut files. All right, that's because this is a very simple shape. What if you have a shape like this? How do you do it? Okay, there's 2 different ways you can do it. You can, and this is my favorite one. This is the easiest one that I have known, and it goes by super fast. I take my piece of paper, I take my cut file, or I take my cut file, the piece I want to back the cut file with, I put glue on, then I glue it to the piece of paper, and then I let it dry for just a little bit because I'm impatient, and then I'll take my scissors and trim around. And what I do is I actually trim kind of at an angle like so instead of like this. I twist my blade just a hair because then I'm cutting underneath the cut file, okay, instead of cutting it to the point of right along the edge like the scissors would if you held them up and down. So I'm taking the scissors and tipping them just a little bit. Tilting them. It's my own made up words going on. And I am cutting along this cut edge right here, okay? And then when you flip it over, it looks like poo. It's supposed to. But the paper will be slightly underneath your edge right here, okay? Then there is the third way of doing a cut file like this, or the second way of doing a cut file like this, is you can put it down on your piece of paper and then take a pencil and trace the outside. You don't want to trace the inside, because if you trace the inside, your cut is going to be too small, and if you don't line it right back up, you're going to see your pencil marks. Now, I've had experience in the past where my pencil marks, if I tried to erase them from printed paper, my pencil marks actually erased the print as well, and you could visibly see a lighter line than the entire rest of the print. Okay, so I don't like erasing my pencil lines. So what I would do is I would put my piece of paper where I wanted it, like this one here barely fits, you guys. So I would put this right here where I would want it, and then take my pencil on the outside of the the cut file and trace along the outside. And then once you have your pencil marks, I cut just a hair inside that pencil line and then go and cut it around it. And then I have a ledge on this piece of paper to glue to the back of my cut file. Okay, so those are the 3 different ways that I know of how to back a cut file. I'm pretty sure that there's loads more, especially if, so like for mine are all pre-printed and delivered to my home. I don't cut these on my machine. If I were to have cut these on my machine, what I do is I actually build another cut file that would have cut out, but I would have darkened in all of these circles and made these all one color. Okay, it is a little bit harder than to try and figure out all the different colors that you have, but it does help when you want to quickly back a cut file. Is you select the cut file you plan on cutting. Now again, it's one that you plan on cutting with your machine, and then once you have that cut file decided, you make a copy of it, and then depending on what program you're using, you go in and you black out all of these little spots in your file on the second cut, and then all it does is cut the circle and then all these little lines going through. And same with the light bulb. I could get the light bulb if I had this cut file in my library, I would put it in my design studio, and then I would copy it. Okay, I would make this the size I would want it. Then I would copy it, and once I have it copied, I will take the copied file and black out. Where, like, if I didn't want these blacked out, I wouldn't do that, but I would black out this right here, all of these right here, everything, and then I would have my my backing for my cut file. Okay, and it would be the exact same size and shape and everything because I copied it from the one I plan on cutting out. Okay, so I guess there's 4. There are 4 ways depending on if you cut your own cut files or if you're sent cut files. Okay, so I want to work on this one first because this one here is this one's simple and this one's advanced. Now, the challenge, one of the challenges, one is a hop, another one is a class, and the third one is a challenge. Does that make sense? I hope so. I hope it does. So the hop is to use up my scraps. So these pieces here, my little polka dots, my little stripe, and these little blue pieces, those are my scraps. All right. The class is to use up a paper pad. Okay, the mini paper pads, anything that is smaller than a 12 by 12. So it's a mini paper pad class. All right, so I've got all of these 6 by 6s going on. The third one, the challenge, is to use more than one die cut on a layout. So I have my 2 die cuts here, and then inside here, which I haven't made up my mind, I just put them here so they didn't get tangled up into any one of these because this one's kind of delicate. So I just put them in the pocket really quick so that way they wouldn't get in the way, not out of the way, in the way. And so basically what I plan on doing is I plan on figuring out where to put these. And I want to do the large ones first and kind of have everything laid out, and I'm going to use these as decorations. So if they end up on the insert, it's okay. If they end up on the layout, it's okay. All right. But the idea was to use more than one of these cut files on a layout. So I'm not really sure if I'm cheating on the challenge or if I am stretching the challenge to, like its absolute limit. I'm not really sure, but I do want to use all of these cut files because I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to set this off to the side. Over here, I'm going to bring this in and treat it as if it is a solid or a single page layout. And then I'm going to... Right off the bat, I decided to show you guys all of the techniques that I showed you on how to back a cut file. And I do want to say that this video would have been about an hour and a half long if I kept it at the exact same speed as I normally edit a video at. And so this is sped up way too fast, and I really, really apologize, but I didn't want to be, 30 minutes for a video is already way too long. So I am really sorry. So basically what I did was I just took all the colors that I chose, and I used my 1 3/4 punch and punched out a bunch of circles. Then I decided that because I didn't have enough color to cover all the circles, that I was going to leave some blank. And I at first was going to do it all random. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, the decorations on the circles are already random. And so I had decided that I'm going to make this design, this color, this design, that color, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So once I have it all set up the way I want it, I really, really liked how it looked, you guys. I really did. And now I'm just going to decide what kind of papers I, how I want to arrange my papers, because I know I'm going to have these 3x4s over on the right side, like the whole edge of my paper. And then I remembered that I had more of this striped paper, which doesn't look very stripy, but it is. It's a grungy stripe. And I had some of that in my solids. And so I was really super stoked when I actually remembered. I thought about it and I was like, oh, I could have sworn I had more of this stripe. Let's go see if I don't. And I had a strip that was about 5 inches, and I went and trimmed it off camera. So now I have my left page to do, and I just trimmed down my green 6x6s and put my photos down, and now I'm going to work on this light bulb. Now, the light bulb, it was an experiment that I wanted to try, and my girlfriend gave me the supplies to try, and I thought, oh, let's try it on a light bulb. Why not? So the first thing I'm going to do is back the cut file. Now I cut out the filaments because I want the filament to be behind the frosted vellum instead of in front of. And so I cut the filament off, and now I am showing you guys, for one, I showed you guys how I just glued it directly down to the bottom of the light bulb and trimmed it out using my scissors. Then I traced the vellum and cut it out just ever so slightly behind the line of the vellum that I traced out. And so so there was all 3 methods of how I back a cut file in one layout-ish, kind of. And now what I want to do is, this is the technique that I wanted to really try. My girlfriend gave me all of these supplies, and she says, yeah, you can make your stuff light up. And I was like, what? No way. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a flat circuit, and I'm going to put light bulbs in my light bulb. Yeah, it's weird. So you take this copper tape, and it is uber thin tape, by the way. And I cut mine like a 1/16 of an inch wide because the filament wasn't very big. And so now I'm trying to figure out, I have to have a positive line of, I have to have a positive circuit and a negative circuit. And the circuits can't touch, or it'll be a closed circuit. And so I was just trying to figure out how to get that done. Well, somebody suggested that you take the light bulb and you super glue it down. But as little super glue as I used, the super glue was actually seeped out and closed my circuit, so it wouldn't work anymore. So I did have to figure out a different way to glue the light bulbs down, so that way the circuit would be closed and not be, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word where it's like interrupted, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But you can see all the little lights flickering, and I keep testing it, and I keep testing it, and I keep checking it out and making sure that it works. And then I had to actually back the light bulb with a yellow vellum, because by the time that I got done putting all of that, what is it called? The foam strips behind it, my yellow piece of 6x6 that I originally picked out did not work. So I did have to cheat and go and get a full 12x12 yellow yellow vellum to put behind my light bulb. So I apologize about that. And I did cut it all out because long story short, I was going to put sequins in here and it actually interrupted my circuit. And so I didn't want that. So I had to cut it all out and I didn't know where the best way to put it back in the layout would be. And so I just finished the light bulb off camera basically. So I apologize about that. And now I am finishing this right side. And I had a few of these like little, I don't know, sparkle stickers. They're from my planner book that I have been kind of working from and getting rid of. And I just took the leftovers and randomly threw them across the page, you know, where I thought that they would fit. And and so I finished off the right page basically. Used up my scraps from the circles that I did not use. And then, like I said, scattered those little stickers all over the place and glued my photos down. I'm doing the exact same thing to the left page. I put my cut file down, just glued it down with my double-sided tape. And now I am going through just the edge, the pieces that are touching the edge. I am putting this liquid glue down. Just so that way they don't get caught going into the page protector. But then I also want to be able to line them up on the other side. And yes, I am going to do these teeny tiny itty bitty little pieces. Even the one down at the bottom right here, I am going to glue that down in place as well. Ugh, I'm so weird, you guys. It's the little things, the tiny little details that I think are important, but nobody will notice. So I picked out all of these little random bits. Some stickers are P13 stickers from like a moon collection. I can't remember. And then some of the other ones, they all came from my space kit, which I thought was kind of cool. You know, I did imagine that, you know, my space kit had some cool stuff in it, but I didn't think, you know, it would have like science stuff. So I decided on a title, and the part of the title is going to be on the right page and the other part is going to be on the left page. And so basically it says Mad Science, and then it's going to have a like a little quote on the other side. So here's Mad Science. And then the other one says, never stop to ask what's the worst thing that can happen. So that's basically, it says that's the definition of Mad Science. And I loved taking all of my alphas and mixing them all up. I had a blast. The wonky green ones are actually, they're gold. They were gold. And then I took my alcohol markers and made them that funky green color. So that was just all done by my alcohol markers. I'm pretty sure I've showed it before on a layout, but and talked about it a little bit more in detail rather than just, I didn't even show it to you guys this time because that's such a long title. I didn't even make you guys watch me put it down. So sorry about that. And here are the 2-page layouts. They are done. They are complete. My light bulb does light up. I just push right next to the D and the little light bulb will light up. Not that it needs to, but it was pretty fun to do. And here is the right page. And I have a little word before and after. Again, those are from P13, just a little sticker sheet that I bought from them. And then the other 2 pieces, I believe, are both Chamel, but not from the same collection. Oh, and then some of the alphas are also the DIYs from Heidi Swap back in the day. And I just took my alcohol markers and made them yellow because I don't have any yellow alphas. Now, if you guys are not interested in watching the rest of the, what's it called? I don't know, these pocket pages, I am totally okay with that. I get it. Not a lot of people are even into the pocket pages, so it's understandable. But I did split it up so that way if you guys didn't want to watch the pocket pages, you know, you guys got to see the up close of the main pages. So I'm going to take some black dilution paint. I don't know if it has a specific word or not, you know, name like black soot or something, but I took the black dilution paint. Ink spray is what it is, not paint. And I made all of my science icons black because the microscope was black and nothing else was. And I'm going to have a small subtitle on one of my pocket pages as well that just says chemical reaction, because that is basically what we were studying, is a chemical reaction. Basically, we mixed oil and water, and then we added acid to it, which is those little antacid tablets that you take when you're not feeling well. Yeah, we added one of those to it. I can't remember what they were called. Alka-Seltzer. That's what they are. So little Alka-Seltzer tablets, and watched the chemical reaction. Well, in order to see the chemical reaction a little bit better, we put food coloring inside it and was able to watch it bubble, and it almost looked like a lava lamp is kind of the reaction that it had. And so anyways, back to the layout. Sorry about that. So back to the layout, I decided that I wanted a few more elements to look like the element that I used on the right page. And so I cut a bunch more of my 1 3/4 circles. Then I took my 1 3/4 circle punch and punched out a bunch of white circles that I don't plan on using, but I wanted the frame. And so I punched out, I believe it's a 2-inch circle. And now I am putting everything together so that way I have, I can mimic the larger cut file. But I don't want to put these together and make one large cut file. I want individual little circles. And so I am cutting off these little rounded corner, I don't know, like strips, I guess is what I would call them. And I am basically trying to mimic what I did for the blue circles. And now I traced the little line things again for the gray and for the yellow, because when I punched them out, they weren't long enough. So in fact, they were exactly 2 inches, and I wanted them sticking outside of the circle instead of being inside the circle. So now I have all of my elements put together, and I am just going to decorate my pages. And what I do is I find dead space in my photo to add a little decoration, and it brings your eye down and across the page. And so I just wanted it to be where I wanted it to be busy. I wanted it to look like, oh, look at that, and oh, look at that, and ooh, look at that, you know. And I think that these circular elements give that to me, give that effect to me. So basically, also I am using these, I don't know what they are called, but they look like little stones to me, by 49 and Market. And some of them are popped up on pretty thick foam. And I used the foam on the layout, but inside the pockets, the foam is too thick. And so I basically have to remove the foam and then just glue them directly down. So for my little beaker, I actually cut off the lid, or the top of it, and I had to shrink it up so it would fit in my pocket. And then I started putting the title down, and I decided that I wanted some of these other elements to be part of this card as well. And I am making a 4x6 card, but I will be cutting it in half to fill in 2 3x4 spaces. And neither one of these cards has a photo to go with it. They're just all decorative. One is contains the subtitle, and the other one is just going to contain that that triangle piece, the ABC triangle. And that's it. So now I'm going to work on another filler card, and that's basically all it is. It's going to be a subtitle of the subtitle, kind of. And all I'm doing is filling in the background of this green card to make it again look like my right-hand page. I thought that it was a great element because now I have like cohesiveness going across everything, and it's all 4 of these pages look like they belong, even though it wasn't like a straight across design that went all the way across. I hope that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but that's okay. So on my little magnifying glass, I am going to put experiment number 1. We do like to experiment quite a few things. Experiment number 2 was actually making our own frosting for sugar cookies, and that was a failed experiment. It was fun though. And I'll be scrapbooking that later. But right now I am just doing experiment number 1. My kids really, really do enjoy science. They really do enjoy the results. You know, they like to guess what's going to happen. They like to see what happens. It's just super fun. So I decided that I wanted another yellow element, and I didn't make one. I didn't have one, so I had to make one really, really quick, which means that I had to go and draw another line image to go on top of it. Not a big deal. And so I just traced around what I already did and then finished the tracing by freehand. It wasn't anything, like mind-blowing. And then again, I'm just taking these little circle things from 49 and Market and taking the adhesive off the back and putting my liquid glue down and gluing them straight to the page in all the dead spots on my photos. So I'm going to basically use up this entire sheet of my 49 and Market little green stones. I don't know what they're called. I know that they have a specific name, but I don't know what they're called. I am gluing this triangle. I did not want to cut it. I didn't want that gap. So I glued it straight to my page protector. I did not have a problem doing any of that, but I am done. That is it. That is the entire, holy cow, all 4 pages completely done. It was exhausting. This did take me quite a few days. I started and I stopped and I started and I stopped. In case you guys didn't notice the close, I did have to fast forward this super, super fast, and I apologize about that. I know that not a lot of you guys like the very fast forward movement and things like that, but I wanted you guys to see how this all came together. Anyways, this is again for 3 different challenges. It's for Baby Got Scrap Hop, the She's Crafty mini paper pad class, and a challenge that we are having over on the Creative Cuts Club Facebook group. So if you guys are a member of any of those hops or groups or classes, please share what you guys are doing, and I will check you guys out tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.